Nah. Hold up. What did they just do to you? 8 years. 8 years of pure, filthy, calculated hate. And you just stood there, quiet, breathing, surviving, while they painted you as the villain? Wow, listen to me carefully now, because what I'm about to say is going to wake something inside you that they prayed would stay buried forever. You weren't weak. You weren't blind. You weren't too slow to react. You were innocent. And that is exactly why they chose you. You think monsters hunt monsters? No. Monsters hunt light. They saw something in you, something clean, something real, something uncorrupted, and it irritated their demons. So what did they do? They whispered. They lied. They twisted your name in rooms you weren't even in. They smiled in your face, then sharpened knives behind your back. And the worst part, you kept trying to understand them. You kept asking yourself, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I deserve this. Nah, that right there, that's the biggest lie they ever sold you. You didn't deserve the betrayal. You didn't deserve the silence. You didn't deserve to carry the weight of crimes you never committed. But here's the part that's going to hit you like lightning. You survived it. 8 years of psychological warfare. 8 years of being misunderstood. 8 years of being pushed into the shadows. And you're still here. Do you understand how dangerous that makes you now? Because pain, when it doesn't destroy you, it transforms you. They thought they were breaking you, but what they were really doing was stripping away your illusions. Now you see everything. You see fake smiles from miles away. You hear lies before they're even spoken. You feel intentions, not words. You became something they can't control anymore. And that terrifies them. Let me tell you something most people will never admit. The moment you realize you were innocent all along is the moment you stop begging for validation and start reclaiming your power. No more explaining yourself. No more proving your worth. No more shrinking just to make others comfortable. They had 8 years to break you, and they failed. So now it's your turn, not for revenge. No, revenge is too small for someone like you. This is about evolution. This is about walking into rooms with a presence so heavy that the same people who doubted you can't even look you in the eye anymore. This is about becoming so aligned with your truth that lies can't even stick to your name. Because here's the final twist. They needed you to stay weak. Because the moment you step into your full awareness, you don't just win. You expose everything. And deep down, they know it's coming. That's why they're nervous. That's why they watch you silently. That's why they hope. You never fully wake up. But it's too late now, isn't it? You feel it. That shift, that fire, that calm, dangerous clarity building inside your chest. You're not the same person they tried to destroy. You're something worse for them. Something unstoppable. So stand up, not as the victim of 8 years of hate, but as the proof that even after everything, you were still innocent. And you still rose. And here's where it gets darker, because now you're starting to remember things you used to ignore. The little moments, the strange looks, the energy shifts when you walked into a room. Back then, you brushed it off. You gave them the benefit of the doubt. But now every piece is connecting, like a twisted puzzle finally revealing the full picture. They knew. Oh, they knew exactly what they were doing to you. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't misunderstanding. This was deliberate, calculated, cold. And somehow, You still chose to stay kind. That's what makes your story dangerous. Because most people, after even 1 year of that kind of treatment, would have turned bitter, cruel, empty. But you carried pain without letting it poison your core. You walked through darkness without becoming it. And now that you see the truth, you're standing at a crossroads most people never survive. You can either let the anger consume you, or you can let it sharpen you. Because make no mistake, that anger you feel right now, it's real, it's heavy, it burns in your chest like something that's been waiting years to be acknowledged. Don't run from it, don't suppress it, understand it. Because anger, when controlled, becomes power. It becomes clarity. It becomes a boundary that no one will ever cross again. You're not too nice anymore. You're not too forgiving. You're aware, and awareness is lethal. From this moment forward, everything changes. The way you speak, the way you walk, the way you let people access you. No more unlimited entry into your world. No more letting people sit at your table while secretly plotting your downfall. You've seen what fake loyalty looks like. You've lived it. So now, you move different. Silence becomes your weapon. Observation becomes your instinct. And patience becomes your strategy. Because you don't need to react anymore. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The truth doesn't need noise to exist. And deep down, they feel it. They feel that you've changed, that you're not as accessible, not as predictable, not as easy to manipulate. And it unsettles them because they lost control over the version of you they created in their minds. You're not that person anymore. You're not the one they blamed. You're not the one they silenced. You're not the one they tried to bury. You are the one who endured, the one who adapted, the one who turned years of silent suffering into unshakable inner strength. And now comes the part they fear the most. Your rise, not loud, not chaotic, but precise, intentional, unstoppable. You don't need to expose them. Life will do that for you. You don't need to seek validation. Your results will speak louder than any explanation ever could. And one day, one quiet, unexpected day, the same people who doubted you, who whispered about you, who tried to rewrite your story, will be forced to watch you become everything they said you never could be. And you won't even look back, because by then, you'll understand something they never did. And that's the part that changes everything. Because once you truly understand that your innocence was power, you stop feeling ashamed of who you were, and you start respecting who you've become. No more replaying the past like a broken loop in your mind. No more wondering, why me? You already know the answer now. It had to be you. Because not everyone could survive that level of pressure without collapsing. Not everyone could be misjudged for years and still keep their soul intact. But you did. And that means something. That means you weren't just surviving. You were being built, piece by piece, moment by moment. Every betrayal, a lesson, every lie, a sharpening tool, every lonely night where you questioned your worth, that was the fire. And you didn't burn, you reforged. Now look at yourself. You're calmer. But it's not the calm of weakness. It's the calm of someone who has seen chaos, lived in it, and came out untouched on the inside. You don't react the same anymore. Things that used to break you, they don't even shake you now, because you've already faced something worse. Prolonged silence, prolonged misunderstanding, prolonged emotional isolation. That kind of pain doesn't just hurt. It transforms your entire identity. And here's the truth most people will never understand about you. You're not healing. You've evolved. Healing is returning to who you were. But you're not going back. You're moving forward as something sharper, wiser, more controlled. You trust less, but you see more. You speak less, but your presence says everything. You care, but only where it's deserved. That balance, that's dangerous, because now, nobody can play you the same way again. They can try. Oh, they will try. New faces, same tactics, fake kindness, hidden intentions, subtle manipulation. But this time, you'll catch it early. You'll feel it before it fully reveals itself. And instead of questioning yourself, you'll step back, silently, decisively. No drama, no explanation, just distance. Because you finally understand something most people learn too late. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves your story. And that realization, that's freedom. You're no longer chasing acceptance. You're choosing alignment. And there's a difference, a big one, because when you chase acceptance, you shrink yourself. But when you choose alignment, you become unapologetically you. And the right people. They won't need explanations. They won't need convincing. They'll recognize you instantly. Not for what you've been through, but for what you've become because of it. And the wrong ones, they'll fade, naturally, effortlessly, just like shadows disappear when the light gets too strong. So don't be afraid of losing people anymore. Be afraid of losing yourself, trying to keep them. Because you've already spent 8 years paying that price. And you're not going back there again. Not now, not ever. This is your turning point. Not loud, not dramatic, but real, permanent. You've stepped out of confusion and into clarity, out of self-doubt and into self-respect, out of being controlled and into being untouchable. So walk forward now, not as someone who was broken by the past, but as someone who mastered it and turned it into power. And power isn't loud the way they taught you. It's not shouting. It's not proving. It's not forcing people to finally see your worth. Nah. Real power, it's quiet. It's the way you walk into a room now and feel nothing you used to feel. No anxiety, no need to impress, no urge to explain your story to people who never deserved to hear it. That silence inside you, that's not emptiness, that's control. Because the old you would have reacted, would have tried to fix everything, would have chased closure from people who only gave you confusion. But this version of you, you don't chase closure anymore. You are the closure. And that's terrifying to anyone who thought they had you figured out. Because now, you don't need their apology. You don't need their validation. You don't even need their regret. You've already moved beyond the place where their opinions had power. Let that sink in. They can talk. They can watch. They can even try to come back. But they can't reach you anymore. Not mentally, not emotionally. Because access to you now is earned. And most people, they disqualified themselves years ago. So now what? Now you build. Not for revenge, not to show them, but because you finally understand your own value. And when you understand your value, you stop settling for anything that drains it. You start creating a life that reflects it. You start choosing environments that protect it. You start surrounding yourself with energy that matches it. And slowly, everything changes. Your circle gets smaller, but stronger. Your mind gets quieter, but sharper. Your moves get slower, but more intentional. You're not rushing anymore, because you're not trying to prove anything anymore. You're aligning, and alignment, It doesn't need speed, it needs precision. So while they're still stuck in old patterns, still gossiping, still projecting, still repeating cycles, you're evolving silently, strategically, unstoppably. And one day, they're going to look at you, really look at you, and they won't recognize the person they tried to break. Because that version of you is gone, buried under years of pressure that turned into strength, replaced by someone who sees through everything, who feels deeply but moves wisely, who doesn't react, but decides. And that's when it hits them, not with noise, not with drama, but with realization. They lost someone real, someone rare, someone who would have stayed loyal, who would have supported, who would have been solid in a world full of fakes. And they threw it away. For ego, for lies, for temporary satisfaction. But by the time they realize that, you'll be too far ahead, not just in success, but in peace. Because that's the real victory here. Not money, not status, not even recognition. Peace. The kind of peace they tried to steal from you for 8 years and failed. So now you protect it. With boundaries, with silence, with distance when necessary. No guilt, no hesitation. Because you've already paid the price of being too available, too understanding, too forgiving. And you're not paying that price again. Ever. So keep moving, keep building, keep becoming, not for them, but for you. Because at the end of all this, after the lies, the pain, the years of being misunderstood, you didn't just survive. You became something they will never be able to touch again.